welcome. I'm Sarah, the voice that opens each episode of You're Probably Right. If this is your first time here, I'm glad you found us. This show is built on real experiences and honest reflection. Nothing rushed, nothing performative, just conversations meant to meet you where you are. In a moment, you'll hear from MCM, the voice behind this space. Each episode comes from lived experience and thoughtful insight, not trends or quick takes. So get a drink, fluff your pillow, or just press pause on the outside
it is MCM,
noise.
and I am here to stay, and also in this rap game. Just joking. All right. It's episode 299. I am MCM, and this is You're Probably Right podcast. I got a good one. Pretty good one. It was it was inspired by a little short video I saw. I don't know, man, and that stuff needs to be outlawed. It's like these people will give you these 14-second takes on very important parts of your life. And I mean, I know they're just tidbits, and then they usually say, follow me for more information or blah, 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 whatever. So anyhow, I just saw this one in passing. I think I was on X or something like that. Anyhow, wait, I was on Twitter. That sounds so messed up. Anyhow, not everyone comes back when you finally realize their value. Remember, this episode, like all the others, are for entertainment purposes only. Is for entertainment purposes only. All right. There is a sentence that went viral recently. Not because it was poetic, not because it was clever, but because it hit something people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. Not everyone comes back just because you finally realize their value. Sometimes you do not realize how deeply someone cared about you until you experience life without them. And then it may be too late to change anything. That sentence did not upset people because it was cruel. It upset people because it forced a moment of self-reflection. And what fascinated me was not the sentence itself. It was the reactions. Hundreds of comments, thousands of emotional responses, people agreeing, people defending themselves. Now, of course, when I'm saying the comments, because I read the comments a lot of the time, when I find something really, really interesting, like I did today, I'm gonna cut into. I always cut when we start these topics. Something always jogs my mind or my memory. Speaking of which, and what I'm saying is the people that are defending themselves for the people in the comments, because sometimes if something's really interesting, really funny, or really like, wow, I like to see what other people see and think about it. And the most passionate people generally are the ones who are going to leave the comments. And actually, was it? Yeah. But for instance, today I was watching YouTube, and sometimes I like to watch those cop videos. They're just interesting because it's like, I mean, that's one of the reasons you can tell why the show Cops in the 80s, 90s, or whatever it was very popular, was because you just didn't know for certain what exactly was going to happen. And these ones, because they're not produced and everybody has a cop camera and people have cell phones, and they have stuff in the windows, and it just, you're never really not being watched 100%. Like within, I would say, 5 yards of everywhere that you walk, pretty much in North America, at least, and I can't say anywhere else, but obviously not in the bushes or in the forest or whatever it is, but you're just being watched. But today, what I saw was really crazy. It says, woman has shootout with cop. And of course, there's been many there. All I know is this is a Black woman and is in the States. And I've never seen somebody so cool and so hell-bent on not being taken down by the police in my life. There was points when this guy kept telling this lady to go stand behind the car, stand behind the car. This lady goes in the car, pulls out her cell phone, goes in the car, gets on the cell phone, starts talking, goes in the car and pulls out cigarettes. And she's just thinking this, hardly listening. And then there's one point when she goes in the car, she didn't go in, she reaches in, whatever. She grabs a bag, she pulls out a cell phone, or maybe she already had the cell phone. She pulls out cigarettes, she gets the lighter. She has the cell phone in one hand, the lighter in the other hand, and the cigarette just in her mouth. And when she's arguing with the cop at one point, she's talking and the cigarette's flapping around in her, on her lip like somebody in a comedy show or a TV show. He runs around the cop car. Cop chases her a little bit. I think, did he chase her? Yeah, I think he chased her around the car. Anyways, she gets in the car, sits down, goes to put it in park. He lights her up with the taser a few times, and she's screaming out. Looks like she's convulsing or whatever it does is shocking her. Anyways, but at one point, if you ever see this video, you could tell she realizes that the jolts that he's giving her, either they're not really there. It was like almost like a placebo. It was just in her shirt or something. All I know is there's one point where she tenses up, and then you see her eyes move, and you could see her reaching to the right side, and she grabs the gun. This woman turns, somehow avoids being shot by this guy because he tells her to put that gun down, which he probably should have just shot her at that point. But anyway, she turns, right hand shoots through her side view, her driver's side window into the cop. He drops him, glass flies everywhere. She shuts the door, puts the car in reverse, park or drive, whatever it is, and gets out of there. I've never seen, like, the only time I've ever seen anything like that was in a movie, like, and this was real, and this was a woman doing it. It totally tripped me out, and I've seen a lot of those videos. That's the one, and it's from a few years ago, so it's not like just recent, but it was amazing. It was amazingly wrong, but I was just shocked how I'm just saying, if you ever see this video, it took a lot of skill to be able to do whatever she was doing. I thought that was really wild. Anyhow, back to the show at hand. All right, so let me go back. Hundreds of comments, thousands of emotional responses. Well, no, thousands of responses and thousands of comments. People agreeing, people defending themselves, people reframing the message. People justifying why they left, people admitting regret, people doubling down on boundaries, people rewriting history so they could sleep at night, I guess. What you are about to hear is not about right or wrong. It is about people, how they reveal themselves, or how they reveal about themselves when loss removes the comfort of denial. Because when someone leaves, the truth does not just hurt. It demands an explanation. And the explanation people choose tells you everything. The regret that arrives too late. A lot of people respond with some version of this. Be careful who you disrespect and take for granted. Some people do not come back no matter how much you realize your mistake. You never know how hard it was for them to walk away. This is the voice of delayed awareness. This is what happens when presence becomes background noise and taken for granted. When effort becomes expected instead of appreciated, honestly appreciated. When love becomes utility instead of a relationship. Humans are terrible at valuing what feels stable. Like drinking water out of a tap, like the shower working, like the lights working. And then when things go off, the power or power shortage, it's like life stops. And it's like we always have power, so it's like we always take it for granted. It's crazy, right? How we breathe, the fact that we blink, remember to breathe. We do not miss oxygen until we can't breathe, right? We do not Notice silence until the room is empty and the phone's off, of course. And the dangerous part is not that people regret their behavior. The dangerous part is that regret often shows up only after the consequences have arrived. You've heard it before where it says, are you sorry because of what you did? Or are you sorry because you got caught, right? Not during the eye roll, not during the dismissiveness, not during the emotional neglect, only after the door closes. By then, awareness is no longer useful. It's just painful because you realize that you could have prevented that forest fire. But you decided that 36 degrees Celsius was the perfect time for you to start up a campfire in somebody's life. And they ran away and left you. Anyway, first of all, or second of all, people rewrite the story, right? Then there was comments that sounded like this. We do not push people away. They choose peace over chaos. Push away anyone that destroys your peace. Yep. Some doors are closed for a reason. Now listen carefully. Sometimes that is absolutely true. Some people leave because staying costs them their sanity and everything. Some people leave because boundaries are necessary for survival. But here is the uncomfortable truth, as I always talk about. Not everyone who says they chose peace is being honest about what caused the chaos. Sometimes peace is real. Sometimes peace is a rebrand because accountability is heavy. Say, yeah, give her actual reason. And reframing the story makes it lighter. It's easier to say, I choose peace, than to say, I avoided the difficult conversations. I ignored warnings. I benefited from someone else until I no longer wanted the responsibility, or maybe I didn't need them anymore. This is not an attack. This is just human psychology. When guilt threatens identity, the brain protects itself. Then there's the rare voice of ownership. Buried in the comments were quieter statements. Yes, I pushed someone away. I did not realize until it was too late. I learned the hard way. These comments do not get the most likes. They do not sound empowering. They do not protect the ego, but they're honest. Ownership is rare because it hurts without offering an excuse. It does not come with a moral high ground. It does not justify the outcome. Things don't add up. It just says, I see it now. And growth begins exactly there. Not in self-punishment, not in public confession, but in, as everybody talks about these days, clarity. The boundary awakening. Another group of comments from people who said things like, I learned boundaries this year. I stopped being a doormat. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. These voices matter because sometimes walking away is not abandonment. It is self-respect arriving late. He was always there. He was just parking the car, right? Some people stay far too long trying to be patient, understanding, forgiving, flexible. And when they finally leave, the person left behind experiences the shock. Not because they changed, but because access was removed. Boundaries feel cruel to people who benefited from your lack of them. And growth often gets misinterpreted as coldness by those who were comforted, or basically those who were comfortable with your silence. Hmm. Missing the person or missing the benefits. This is where the statement gets cuts deep, really. When someone finally realizes your value, it is not always because they understood you better, they've learned. Sometimes it's because they missed what your presence provided. Maybe it was consistency, maybe you're always on time, always there to pick them up, or always there to wake them up in the morning. Emotional labor, you would mull things over of, whatever has been happening in your family, and they've given you countless counseling sessions when you're just supposed to be out for dinner or having a coffee. They're going over your problems and trying to feel your pain and trying to work through them with you. Maybe it's stability. You just needed someone around you who goes to work every day and does their job every day and doesn't flake out on the weekend. Maybe you needed a mentor. Maybe you needed an example. Maybe you needed a running mate. Maybe it's attention. Maybe you love and need attention, and it's like what gets your juices going, and this person is always focused on you more than they focus on themselves, and maybe you let it happen. Maybe there's forgiveness on tap because they're easygoing. Maybe they're agreeable. Missing benefits is not the same as choosing the person. And this is why reunions fail so often. Hard to say, right? Because the return is about relief, not change. People want the same dynamic restored, not a healthier one built. And when the person who left refuses to come back, they're not being cruel. They are being honest. They finally see what's really happening. The myth of closure and second chances. Many comments hinted at this idea. If they realize their mistake, why not give them another chance? Here's the part no one likes to say or talk about. Real change does not require access. If someone truly understands why you left, they will respect your absence if they understand. The need for immediate forgiveness is often about easing discomfort, not repairing damage. Second chances only work when behavior changes without supervision. It has to be a decision. Otherwise, it is just nostalgia wearing a promise costume, and eventually the costume is going to come off. And the final truth, really? It's a really short one, guys. 20 minutes. Not even there yet. Loading. Here's what the entire conversation reveals. Loss does not automatically create wisdom. You don't necessarily learn from your mistakes. It creates stories, that's for sure. And some stories are honest. Some stories protect pride, so they're not true stories. Some stories disguise regret as empowerment. And sometimes the hardest truth is, not everyone who leaves was wrong, and not everyone who stayed deserved another chance, and not everyone who missed should return. Should return. Because love is not proven by realizing value too late. It is proven by how someone treats you when they think you will always be there. If you are listening to this and you are the one who left, ask yourself whether you left to grow or left to avoid. If you are the one who was left, ask yourself whether you missed the person or the version of yourself that kept hoping. And if you are the one who finally realized someone's value, understand this. Realizing it doesn't entitle you to their return. Some lessons arrive after loss and as loss. Not punishment, not karma, just consequence. That's the result of what you did, and this is the result. And sometimes the most loving thing a person can do for themselves and for the other person is not to come back at all. Anyhow, guys, this is You're Probably Right. And if this episode was uncomfortable, good. Because it means maybe you got something to think about. And maybe we need to be honest. Peace out, y'all. It's MCM. Peace.
Hey, come check out You're Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 dogs. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while, understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.